Welcome back. At OASIS Tokyo, we explore life in Japan through the lived experiences of our guests. In this section of the podcast, we'd like to ask Moritz a little bit more personally about what you think it takes to build a successful career here in Tokyo from your perspective, working in cultures and different countries in the hospitality industry. And I know we touched on this a little bit earlier with regards to sort of cross-cultural communication, but I was wondering if there's any sort of like personal philosophy that you have that you think is quite key in the hospitality industry for this.
Okay, I think in the setting of international hospitality, I think for everyone who is traveling around the different cultures and countries, right, it's about embracing it. And I think that's literally almost the core philosophy, right? It's about
When in
leading.
Rome.
Great, soak it up, huh? It's about leading with curiosity and communicating with intention, right?
Yeah.
And respecting the culture rhythm and also as well adapting to the environment. I think that's essentially the core philosophy behind it. But here in Japan, in this context, right, you have harmony through communication, subtly in that context, right? And the goal is to work within the rhythm of Japan and Tokyo and to change it while offering global perspectives to the team for that part, right? Listening before guiding is a very important principle and a principle rule that I live by. Without understanding the full context and before understanding actually what is it all about, you can't give proper guidance. So this is something extremely important, right? Everybody has that kind of notion to judge on things. But I think to do a judgment before really assessing the entire context is something that people are challenged here with. So listening before guiding, it essentially is the most important part. And it's one of the cultures, and I had listened just the other day to another podcast of a friend of mine. In Japan, it's about building trust. And trust can be a means to credibility, but it also as well can be a means to relationship. And I think that is what you need to establish here in Japan, right? It's about reliability to build that influence, and this is going only through trust because you can't force change through. You need to build that trust and have that purpose-driven communication where you explain the why as opposed to the what you do, right? Once Japanese or once colleagues understand that, I think the message that you try to convey unfolds a deeper meaning, right? And it gives them sort of like context. So I think this is a one key essential in Japan for this one. And if I would have to sum it up into an essence, it's about cross-cultural leadership, blending empathy with decisiveness.
Yeah, no, 100% from my personal experience as well, living in Japan, would say that that's something that I've had to sort of, I guess, like deal with, but also have enjoyed learning about. And I think when you talk about trust, it's something that can't be, switched on or off. It doesn't happen immediately. It takes time and also consistency to be able to do. And I think, that's something that, many people could struggle with as well. But would you sort of say that, there has been any particular things that have been difficult for you sort of getting that trust or?
I think when I see, and I of course work with a lot of people, right, in Tokyo and over 3 different stages of my life, I do see there is trust through credibility, there is trust through reliability, and there's trust through relationship. So I think once you kind of crystallize that, to focus on to work on these 3 parts is becoming literally the key core component. For me, a particular challenge, I think the first year, you can tell me how your experience was, but from everybody that I talked to, I think the first year is usually the challenging year because you need to adapt the culture shock because you don't speak the language. And then we obviously from Europe, right, having that background, coming from an individual sort of like oriented culture to a collectively oriented culture makes huge difference, right? Because it's not I'm the manager and this is how we do it. It's like, what do you guys think? Why are we doing this? Or we maybe should consider how to change it. So I think getting into that habit, that might be the challenge for anybody who enters Japan into the first time in Asia Pacific.
Yeah. And then in that case, obviously, with your sort of philosophy on how to sort of build relationships and sort of, I guess, have that success in Japan, is there any key sort of strategies or maybe even advice that you were given at some point in your career to sort of have success as a non-native Japanese person working in this industry in Japan, and maybe something that you could share with us today?
I think there's one funny story. So I remember I mentioned that I joined this successful restaurant, right? And I came prior to that from China. Okay, and the big key adaptation is shifting actually the mindset from a results-driven strategy to a relationship strategy. So what I did in the beginning was like, okay, hey, we have done yesterday so much revenue, perfect, awesome, amazing, fantastic, right? But that was not the cultural approach for doing hospitality in the setting of Tokyo and a luxury scale dining experience, right? So I realized, okay, but nobody's celebrating this one, so what's going on, right? And that made me realize, okay, I need to change the approach, and that's why I said it becomes more relationship driven, right? To focus on omotenashi and make sure that the guest relationship is fine, because anything else will come. There's one very, 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 very influential man in this world, Benano. He said, focus on the experiences, the rest will come, and that's exactly what I think in Japan is resonating with that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I guess like when it comes to working in Japan as a non-native Japanese person as well, there can be other challenges as well that you have to combat with. As you mentioned, that first year, I myself had
it's like you experience everything. Oh, what is it? What's going on here, right? And then,
but once you learn, I guess, where that scale is and how much you want to sort of adjust and how you can best communicate your opinions and your experience as well, I think it probably leads to a smoother experience as well.
It's like the first year is like you break it, right? And then the second year, it's a joyride. And then the third year, and then the fourth year. In my time, this third stage that I come back is like plug and play. It's like, yeah, let's go, let's do it, right? It's like, yeah, I know how it works. Come on, let's do it like that.
Yeah.
And you have that kind of agility that comes with it, and that accelerates then also performance.
Well, I'm sure from the sort of outside perspective, the hospitality or F&B space in Japan could maybe be a slightly daunting industry to sort of enter into as a foreigner because of the high levels of omotenashi standards. And I'm just wondering if you have any sort of like advice or key messages that you would maybe share with someone who would want to either enter or start or advance their career within this space. I guess, drawing on past experiences as well.
I hope we have not set the bar now too high for hospitality here and made it for people, I was like, oh, should I really go to Japan? Japan is an amazing country. Okay, let's put it out aside, right? I think my sort of like recommendation for anybody who wants to advance their career successfully in Tokyo or in Japan would be to come with expertise, but stay humbled and stay humble, or basically focus on humility, right? Because you will realize that when you have the expertise, you build on that trust, or you have that credibility, right? Which is sort of like the stepping stone. But the actual learning experience that comes is through spending time with the colleagues, through spending times with the guests, right? Those are the cultural experiences that actually add to your leadership value and to your understanding of how to drive performance also as well better than in this market, right? But essentially when if I may say, skills open the door, right? But actually the experiences you only accumulate with the interactions that you have on a daily basis. And if there's 3 recommendations that I could make, definitely for sure, be patient. Right, I mean, it took us 1 year. It took us the first year, right? So understand that change is steady. It's not sudden, right? And then to be adaptable is the other part. Understanding the why behind traditions as opposed to resisting to them, very important. And then third and foremost, be genuine. I think omotenashi and same as also luxury service provision. It's all about staying genuine. To one another.
Yeah, I'm sure that authenticity is definitely key for, success in many industries as well. And I think when we were discussing earlier, you mentioned that having that sort of communication with your guests, with the people who are having that experience is also really key as well. And is there anything, I guess, you would maybe advise people that's maybe different from other industries when it comes to the communication with, I guess, both the Japanese guests you deal with, but also those guests who come to Japan with the expectation that they will be meeting those Japanese standards?
I think reflecting on tourism as per se, because you talk about, right, guests coming to Japan, I think when it comes to tourists, they're usually very surprised how good the service quality standards are. Because when you reflect on Europe, when you reflect on the States, when you reflect on other, no offense, when you reflect on other country standards, you might be a bit surprised what's going on there. But when you come then to Japan, you feel like, oh, wow, okay, that's hospitality, it kind of can give you that moment. And I can share that on first-hand experiences with guests, right? And also as well, communal respect, right? Like, I remember, but I don't know, have they changed it? Can you still talk on the phone when you're driving bus?
I don't think phones on public transport is
Because
genuinely...
Because I remember also as well from 2016, it was absolutely prohibited, right? People looked at you like, what is this guy doing, right? But then it sort of like opened up, and I'm seeing now people, even Japanese, being on the phone. I'm like, whoa, something has changed. But that's sort of kind of adaptability. So I think, when it comes to that, people are open, and for Japanese guests, they have very high standards when it comes to hospitality and hold also people accountable for it. So you can get long complaints maybe on some certain situations, not at Mandarin Oriental Tokyo, but you kind of know about it, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that sort of appreciation and respect towards a sort of communal space and the sort of other people around you, their experience, and the dining place as well, or even just in general areas of hospitality, must be something that guests also expect other guests to sort of hold up as well.
How was it for you? I mean, because you also as well spent time right in Europe, and then you came back. How was it for you to experience all of a sudden everything? I mean, was it like a seamless experience that you could take on, or was it also that you realized, oh wow, this is differently, this is much better?
I think, definitely was better overall, I would say. I think some of the things that I noticed when I went for when I would dine, or when I do dine, in Tokyo and in Japan in general, is that there is a lot of sort of respect for the other diners in the experience in the place. We're all having our own nice experience in this restaurant. We're all enjoying the food. We're all appreciative of the sort of catering of the staff, and then also just like the amount of thought that goes into sort of every thing that we do, not just the food and the flavor, but the presentation and the way it's explained to you, and the way that people are very quite, as you mentioned, genuine about wanting you to have a good time, and you sort of come away from those experiences thinking like, I really enjoyed that. And you can't really maybe pinpoint it was this exact dish or this exact thing this person said, but it gives you an overall feeling of like satisfaction.
It's crafting that experience, or curating that experience, right? And I think that is what you also well feel here different than in other countries.
Yeah,
maybe.
and I think my friends as well, or my family, when they come to Japan and then they go back home and they sort of have that opposite culture shock of like, oh, this is what we were doing all the time before, but in Japan that is not what everyone does on the day to day. And I think throughout the hospitality space, it doesn't even need to be in the luxury space for that to just be a golden rule, that you would have that positive experience coming back. And I think more so if you don't have that, then it shocks you even more that why was that not the case? Sure. But yeah, I think that would be my general experience as well. But
cool.
but I guess in the hospitality space then, and F&B in Mandarin Hotel, striving for excellence, having that sort of level of omotenashi that you're looking for, and sort of having that very diverse team, is there anything in particular that you would say has been like key to your success in adapting as well?
Passion, agility, and I think also as well always a positive mindset. Because in every difficult challenge that you are encountered with, you always can find the positive meaning out of it. And I think that's the most important part, right? I mean, do you like to hang out with a person that is negative? No, nobody does, right? I mean, who likes it, right? To be confronted with negativity on a daily basis. So you need to find that positive part. And I think that's the one quintessential skill, and also the mindset that you need to bring on a daily basis.
So Moritz, would love to just ask you briefly, what would you sort of say is your future outlook for the Mandarin Oriental Hotel Tokyo?
Thank you. I need to be mindful what we can share here at this point in time, right? I need to say hi to Mia, my Marcoms director. At the core, right, every project that comes up is focusing on, of course, the talent, right? And we are very fortunate. We have a couple of projects in pipeline, whether it's major projects or whether it's smaller projects that are elevating our service quality or our standards. There's a lot of things going on, but I think the key focus area for us will be creating immersive culinary journeys, right, through the collaborations that we have. There's in January and also February a couple of Michelin-starred chefs that will be visiting us. Stay tuned for more, right? And then we obviously are also as well over 2026 focusing on innovative dining concepts, which are also as well going to be interesting because they're going to combine art, gastronomy, and also as well storytelling stronger. And one favorite of mine is wine. So I need to say thank you to Nozaka-san, my director of wine, because we have an amazing portfolio of events coming up in 2026. And of course, personalized luxury experience will always stay at the forefront, right?
Great. Well, to wrap up our video then for today, Moritz, I'd just like to ask you if you have a final message, maybe some words of inspiration for our listeners here today.
Thank you. First and foremost, thank you very much, right, for giving me also as well the pleasure of being the first podcaster here.
Thank you.
I think the first one is, of course, saying gratitude. So heartfelt thanks to everybody who supports and also believes in the hospitality industry. And I think at the hospitality's purpose, right, its core is human connections. And I think creating spaces where people are felt, seen, cared for, and also as well heard. And with this being said, to our listeners, thank you for the passion for food, for also as well for culture, and also as well the experiences that OASIS Tokyo can provide. And it's an invitation to Mandarin Oriental Tokyo, but also as well on a personal note, a small little thank you. And I remain happily and positive to obviously making connections with other people and to share experiences and also as well help in touching the lives that we confronted with on a daily basis.
Thank you very much, Moritz, for your
Thank
time
you.
today. Well, I really hope you all enjoyed this episode. Please like and subscribe for this video. If you yourself would like to share your experiences about living and working in Japan, please feel free to send us a message or via direct message on Instagram. Thank you very much for watching, and we're looking forward to continuing this journey with you at OASIS Tokyo.